Good evening. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance led by Councilmember Martha Tashnik. Okay, we're going to jump right into a special recognition. I'm going to hand the floor over to Councilmember McCullough.
Thank you, Council President. It's a very cool day today. We have Kaylee Doyle, who currently plays on the New York Sirens, the first ever, well, the PHW, the Professional Women's Hockey League, which started, I want to say, 3 seasons ago. Kaylee is a Livonia native. And we definitely wanted to honor her today. We have some special girls here that currently play following the leadership of you, whether you believe it or not. Honestly, growing up playing hockey, I'm a lot older than you, but I had a few girls in the Southfield Hockey Club. And as a girl dad now, I can see on kind of how there's still a divide and distance between boys and girls in sports. Even with a couple of the girls here, they get dressed currently in coat closets because they co-roster on boys' teams. And it's incredible to see the growth of the game. And it's with people like you that have trailblazed. It is special, and if we could just give you a nice frame with accommodation, I think it's super special. We are going to embarrass you a little bit, not bad, but if you want to make your way up to the podium, I want to read this this commendation. And correct me if I'm wrong, but you went to Stevenson,
yep,
which is good. I'm not going to hold it against you. I'm a Patriot, but I think we have Chargers.
Spartan.
Oh, there we go.
Nice.
There we go. So, and then you played for Honeybake, Brown, and Quinnipiac.
Yep, Quinnipiac.
And then went into the Sirens.
I was also the Livonia Knight for 8 years.
Woo! Let's see that. Livonia Knights.
I love the Livonia Knights.
That is awesome. All right, so these are words so the commendations are long and boring always, but I want to read it because this one is special. It says, whereas the city of Livonia proudly recognizes Kaylee Doyle for her outstanding achievements in the game of hockey and serving as an inspiration to young athletes throughout our community. And whereas Kaylee Doyle has reached the highest levels of women's professional hockey as a goaltender for the New York Sirens in the Professional Women's Hockey League, proudly representing Livonia on the national stage. And whereas the city of Livonia has long been recognized as a proud hockey community with a rich tradition of developing talented athletes, passionate families, and strong youth hockey programs. And whereas to the continued growth of girls hockey in Livonia stands as a testament to the dedication, perseverance, and leadership of trailblazers like Kaylee, whose success demonstrates to young girls that have no limits on what they can achieve both on and off the ice. Whereas Kaylee Doyle's commitment to excellence, sportsmanship, teamwork, and community pride has made her an exceptional role model for the next generation of female athletes in Livonia and beyond. And with this, all City Council, we are very proud to issue this certificate of commendation. And I'm going to, if it's cool with council, do you mind if I let the girls hand it to her? And then we can get a cool glamour shot. But before we do that, is there anything you just want to take us through, like your time at maybe a funny store in Livonia, or I'll give you a segue because you are famous on TikTok with your co-goalie, I believe, right?
Yep.
And it is. If anybody on TikTok, she's got an awesome channel, super fun. I mean, we met her when you guys were in town for the takeover. We were at the practice ice, and she's signing autographs, and it's super cool. And that's why you have fans like this and us, and we appreciate everything. But yeah, if you want to, we won't hold you to it, and then we'll just switch to taking the picture and getting on her.
I appreciate the recognition. It means a lot. Like he said, I grew up playing in Livonia. I did play for the boys for 8 years for the Knights, so I understand the struggles of getting dressed in a closet or sometimes even a bathroom, getting on your understuff and then going into the locker room. But I think it means a lot to see you guys here. We appreciate your support. I know I loved when you guys came to LCA, just being able to see you guys out there and getting autographs and giving autographs to you guys. It means a lot to us too, and for the future of women's hockey. So I think for you guys, it's awesome to see you here, and I hope to see you guys in P-Dub one day.
There we go. All right, well, let's give her a huge round of applause. And then the council, want to get a picture? girls, come and get it. Pop up and get a good picture. This is the most calm I've ever seen any of you, all right? Yeah, let's go around. Oh, sorry. I thought it was just a minute. Here, come on. Pop over and get some pictures. We don't make you stack the heads. Oh, you got two. We're gonna take time more, all right?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, pop up. Oh, that's awesome.
All right, welcome to the 2042nd regular meeting of Livonia City Council. This is a voting meeting. Minutes of this meeting will be approved at the next regular meeting scheduled to be held on Monday, June 15th, 2026. Will the clerk please take the roll?
Councilmember Tashnik. Here. Vice President Brockway.
Here.
Councilmember McCullough.
Here.
Councilmember McDonald.
Here.
Councilmember Budzinski.
Here.
Councilmember Persicone.
Here.
President Reed.
Here, and we have 7 members present. I will now entertain a motion for the minutes from the regular meeting of the City Council held on May 18th, 2026.
So moved.
Support.
Okay, I have motion by McDonald, support by Tashnik. Any comments from council? Any comments from the audience? Madam Clerk, please take the vote.
Councilmember Tashnik.
Aye.
Vice President Brockway.
Aye.
Councilmember McCullough.
Aye.
Councilmember McDonald.
Aye.
Councilmember Budzinski.
Aye.
Councilmember Persicone.
Aye.
President Reed.
Aye. And the minutes pass 7-0. We will now move on to audience communication. We have set aside 30 minutes for audience communication for items that are not on the agenda. You have 3 minutes to speak. You can come on down. Good evening, sir. Please state your name and address for the record. You have 3 minutes.
My name is Hayato Yamaguchi. I live at 15582 Levan Road. May I start now?
What was that?
Am I clear? am I
Yep,
good
go
to
ahead.
Okay.
Yep.
Good evening to the City Council of Livonia and those of you in the audience today. Thank you for taking the time to listen to me today. I'm Hayato Yamaguchi, here today representing the Congressional Youth Advisory Council for District 12, a nonpartisan council that focuses on certain legislative issues with the guidance of Congresswoman Rashida Tlaib and her team. I come here today to ask the City of Livonia to pass a moratorium on data centers for the foreseeable future. I have lived in Livonia for many years now, and I wish for the city to continue to embody the city's motto as I know it, families first. To me, putting families first means that we make decisions that result in the well-being of the majority and look out for the future growth and prosperity of our city. If you've been following the recent developments around data centers, you will see that data centers have impacts that are quite contradictory to the saying, families first. Families near data centers suffer, whether it be through noises reaching volumes up to 80 decibels, which is as loud as a constantly running vacuum, and explosive increase in utility bills or decreased water quality. Let's take a moment to consider each of these effects. First of all, the jump in utility bills is caused both by the massive amount of energy it takes to power these behemoths and the millions of gallons of water used to cool these monsters, which is up to 5 million gallons of water a day, which would very simply make Livonia a worse city to live in and raise a family in. Now, consider how the water quality might affect the desire to live here. We have seen cities in Michigan plagued with poor water quality issues and the effects that it has had on the populace. Following the Flint water crisis, the housing stock suffered over $500 million in losses. Imagine the publicity that we would receive. It is not worth jeopardizing our city's reputation and the economy for these data centers. I certainly would not like to raise a child in a city with such issues. Beyond the personal hardship that families experience, I would like the council to consider that data centers mean for the future for Livonia. Recently, one of the gravest concerns that our population in Livonia is stagnating and possibly declining. Young families are not moving here, and the ones that are already here often move out. The aforementioned hardships and difficulties that data centers expose families to worsen both of those issues. The building of new data centers have minimal long-term benefits to the communities they impact. The short-term job creation quickly vanishes when data centers are complete. Only 100 to 200 long-term jobs are created. Data centers are unwanted neighbors of Livonia families. I ask the council remembers Livonia's motto as you ask
That is time, sir.
Oh, thank you very much.
Thank you. Good evening, ma'am. Name and address for the record, please. You have 3 minutes.
Thank you, Denise Micah, Livonia. I have a couple things. Last council meeting, I talked about the notice of intent to bond and how the publication was missing at the library, and Councilperson Potashnik reminded us that it's in the meeting minutes. So I looked that up, and I noticed a discrepancy. And the discrepancy is, it was voted on March 23rd. It was published March 26th, but the minutes were not approved till April 8th. And from what I understand, nothing gets done until the minutes are approved. So I would like to get a reading on this. I asked a reading on it before, but haven't heard anything, and I want to restart the clock for a different date for when the notification for the citizens. Another thing, I recently went to the Livonia Housing Commission meeting, and from what everybody understands, you can see on social media, and we've spoken about it before, numerous people, about how we can't have ask a question or make a comment on anything that's on the agenda. And we're just only allowed to speak at the beginning, that's it. So, but I did kind of get my point in there, and I don't know if it's ever going to be heard, but I want City Council to know that I asked the Housing Commission to look into extending the hours of the Live and Go bus, because that came up at the last council meeting that people said, well, that's over at 6. So if the Housing Commission is in charge of that, and I thought maybe City Council could have some influence on that, that we could get that done. So I'd appreciate you looking into that for the citizens that need buses a little bit longer. Okay, one other thing. I attended the Memorial Day ceremony here, which was very lovely. And I was enjoying the ceremony, and I honor all the people that served and everything. And I'm sitting not in my usual spot over here. I'm sitting over near the top left. And what happens? I said I can't even come and be like in the moment, appreciating and just clear my mind. Water started dripping on my head. I couldn't believe it. I had to move. There is a leak over there in the back, and you can see from the ceiling that it's there. So I couldn't even enjoy the moment without being reminded that the city of Livonia does not maintain their buildings. Thank you.
Thank you. Good evening, sir. Name and address for the record, please. You have 3 minutes.
My name's Bob Hauser. I live at 14792 Hubbard in Livonia. And I'm just back here talking about the native landscapes. People that I'm part of that group have been reaching out to me asking what's happened with the ordinance that's in the law department from what I understand. So I just wanted to remind you folks that it's still on everybody's radar, and we're really interested in seeing what comes out of the L&E committee. Concerning strictly Wayne County Wild Ones, we have a couple of events of Livonia interest coming up this summer. June 28th, we have 2 Livonia residents that will be showing their yards in a member-to-member yard tour that we do. And this is where members go to other members' yards and see what their landscaping looks like, what's working for them, what's not working for them, and we have a chance to talk through things. Sometimes we open these up to the public, and we're always hoping that the members bring guests with them. For these Livonia events, I'd like to invite interested city council members to see the native plant landscapes in Livonia. And I just have to confirm with those Livonia residents that would be okay. Mine would be open to Livonia City Council and the Greenleaf Committee, just to come out and I'll show you what I have, what I've designed, what's working for me, what's not, what I will change. As I've dug into the sample ordinances, there are changes that I'd look to make on my property. That just makes sense from a safety standpoint. So thank you very much. And we will also be at the table next to the Greenleaf Committee at their plant sale. And we'll be advocating native plants and answering the public's questions on what natives work best in what situations. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Good evening. Name and address for the record, please. You have 3 minutes.
Katie Rogowitz, Livonia. I'd like to start real quick just to address some issues with the Livonia spree that I noticed we had problems with last year. The Kimberly Oaks neighborhood across from the spree, people were utilizing their new huge trash bins and recycling bins to block street parking. Some people even had signs trying to charge people for parking. I have pictures of signs trying to charge $20, $30, even $50 to park in front of their homes on the public streets in Kimberly Oaks. I did call Livonia Police. They said that is illegal to obstruct any street parking with cones, chairs, any trash bins. Now, their garbage day is Monday, so all their trash bins should be out of the street by 7 p.m. That's the day before the spree even opens up. So if city ordinance and police wanted to keep up on that, no one should have their trash bins even in the street for the rest of the week. And obviously using those trash bins to block parking is not acceptable. I actually had to throw cones that somebody placed in front of their house so me and other people could park there, if the city isn't going to enforce, or if the police or whatever aren't going to do anything, just remember, citizens, you can throw those cones up on their lawn, chairs blocking it, trash bins blocking it. You don't have to pay for parking in front of people's homes in Kimberly Oaks. That's a really low class, disgusting move that I saw last year. Unacceptable. And I will be out there and going through, and I will be removing their crap out of the street, just so if you see me, that's what I will be doing. Know that you can park there, and they are not allowed to do that. Second, I've been living in Livonia for 11 years. I've been coming to city council meetings. I never have seen the mayor here except for when they did a motion for body cameras, and I think that was sometime in like 2016, 2017. Now, I don't come to every meeting. I do watch some online. I can tell by some of your faces, you guys just go through the motions with audience communication. You don't really care. You don't really do anything about it, and that's fine. But, I have a good friend. Many of you may know who he is. He was mayor of Novi for many years. He didn't go to every city council meeting, but he went to them. He was involved. He made himself accessible to the community. I have tried for 11 years to get a hold of the mayor, and the only time I ever was is when Dennis Wright was mayor. He actually came to my house to address me after I spoke at an audience communication when the wheels were stolen off my husband's car, and Livonia police would not come out when I saw people casing my neighborhood, and 3 of us had our wheels stolen off our car. So he came to my house and spoke with me personally. Now, this secretary the mayor has obviously is quite the gatekeeper. She does a very good job, nice lady, but the mayor is completely unaccessible, which to me is unacceptable, And so I don't know if you guys are complacent, being her gatekeepers, but it's kind of pathetic, so.
Good evening, sir. Name and address for the record, please. You have 3 minutes.
Steve King, Coventry Gardens. Does anybody know what this is? Do you even recognize it?
Let's see what happens.
What you're hearing is the rockin' sounds of Steve King and the Diddleys. Unfortunately, you will not be hearing Steve King and the Diddleys at Spree this year. I've done about 50 Spree performances over the years. In fact, I did my first 10 before the current Spree executive director was even born. In recent years, I have performed on Ball Diamond 1 immediately before the fireworks. It wasn't a gig I inherited, it was a gig that I helped create. Before that time, there was no live music on the Ball Diamond. I secured a corporate sponsor, pitched the ideas to the Spree Committee, and worked with organizers to create an experience that thousands of residents came to enjoy and expected every year. Working with Ron Ranke and others, we even developed a synchronized music program for the fireworks years before larger communities began doing the same thing. A few months ago, I was offered the opportunity to return. Then, after months of speaking at city council meetings and challenging decisions made by city leaders, that opportunity disappeared. Maybe that's a coincidence, maybe it isn't. But here's what I know. When someone who has entertained this community for years suddenly finds himself removed after becoming a vocal critic of city policies, people are going to ask questions, and they should. Because this really isn't about Steve King and the Diddleys. It's about whether people can speak freely, challenge those in power, and still participate in community events without fear of being pushed aside, as I was last year over the bond. They kicked me off the schedule at Music from the Heart. A community event should belong to the community, not to politicians, not to insiders, and not to people who only welcome voices they agree with. I've spent years volunteering, performing, supporting local causes, and entertaining families at Livonia Spree. I never imagined that speaking my mind at public meetings could place that at risk. If artists, musicians, volunteers, and residents begin to believe they must stay quiet to stay welcome, then we have a much bigger problem than one canceled performance. The strength of a community is not measured by how it treats people who agree with those in charge. It is measured by how it treats those with who they disagree. This administration operates by the example of their power instead of the power of their example. I refuse to be intimidated into silence, and I appreciate all of your support. Thank you.
Good evening, ma'am. Name and address for the record, please. You have 3 minutes.
Hi, thank you. Lynn Mills from South Livonia. I was going to say South Detroit. I had that song going in my head. I want to talk about the transit tax that's coming up for the August election. I did some research over the weekend, and I went back and I listened to all the people who spoke at the last city council meeting. First of all, there is an excellent website called DetroitTransitHistory.info. I suggest everybody go take a look and read it. It's got some maps and a lot of history there on the way transit has changed in the greater Detroit area over the years. It includes Oakland County, Macomb County, and to my surprise and my friends, when I said SEMTA, didn't understand what I was saying. SEMTA was formed in 1967, Southeastern Michigan Transit Authority. I'm that old, I do remember that. They gobbled up all the little bus systems that were in the three-county area, and that was done under the Michigan legislature in 1967, and they combined everything, and that eventually went into the SMART system. It was failing in 1967. It began to fail in 1983. Mass transit makes a difference when it makes sense. And I want to say that just because when people are against a mass transit tax, it doesn't make them racist. It makes them concerned, again, about their taxes. When I watched the video the other day, there were people who couldn't drive. They had very touching stories. For that, I am very sorry. There are people who won't drive. There are people who don't want to drive, and people who don't want anyone to drive. When I was 15. I couldn't wait to get on that Joy Road bus. Perhaps I was on it with Mr. Biga. I don't know. My first job depended on a bus. I understand the need for bus systems. It got me to where I needed to go. It got me to where I could get a car. We all want our cars. Our cars are point-to-point spontaneity. We can't leave here at midnight sometimes and get home. Oh, I'm done. Sorry. Thank you for listening.
Thank you. Good evening, sir. Name and address for the record, please. You have 3 minutes.
Christopher Martin, resident of the great state of Michigan. And maybe some of you noticed, people out in TV land, and maybe some of you on council, but the hanging baskets of flowers have arrived on the lamp posts along 5 Mile in Farmington there in that particular area. And they came Saturday. Today, 2 trucks. One had a big water tank in the back, 5 guys. A couple of years ago, I had brought this up, and Laura Toy thought it was hilarious, okay? But that's a lot of money being spent, and that's been going on for quite some time. I think that was somebody's idea in the courthouse, I think, but I could be mistaken on that. So let me go over it again. These are plastic flowers. I keep them outside all year long, throughout the entire winter. I change them every 5 to 8 years. No one waters them. No one maintains them. They're just out there. When you drive by those live plants that we're spending over the last probably 10 years, it must be a hell of a lot of money. At the end of the day, when you're driving by at 40 miles an hour and they're 12 feet up in the air, do you really notice if they're alive or if they're plastic? It's kind of like the same thing I talked about the last meeting about the roofs on the some of the structures out of Greenmead. It's in horrible shape, those cedar shakes. Huh? We could have put steel up there that would have looked just like it. As I'm talking about steel, I was at Rotary Pavilion twice today. Saturday, workers over there, they took down the fencing. That standing seam roof that is on that pavilion is utterly horrible. It's shameful that we're going to pay money for that. So here's what I'd like people to do. Some of you might be interested in this too. Basic standard seam metal roof, how to install. And you can just look that up on the computer and see how to correctly do it. Almost 8,000 people have viewed that. Too bad the workers didn't view it who put that roof on there.
Thank you, sir. That is time. Good evening, sir. Name and address for the record, please. You have 3 minutes.
Peter Dale, 9812 Cranston Street. I just have to comment after the disparaging remarks about SEMTA and so on and so forth. I want to point out to people listening out in the community that all of Macomb County, all of Oakland County, all of Washtenaw County belong entirely now to the system. Why did they just buy into it? Because it is working. They're expanding it, and it is working. If we do not do the same here in Wayne County, this is a Wayne County election. This is not just Livonia. We will be left with holes in our communities with people not being able to get around. We have to stop looking at Livonia as some sort of a little golden island all by itself. We are part of a larger community, Metro Detroit, and to make everything work well, which would benefit us as well, is to go along with this, because the more that people are involved with it throughout the communities, the more it'll be used. The reason, I mean, the reasons for SEMTA not working very well before there are many of them, but they've got their act together now. I've been following this, and it's going to work. I was really very disappointed the last time we voted on this in Livonia. We did not go through with it. This is our chance to repair that damage. You've heard all the sob stories about people not being able to get around. It's true, but even more importantly, or as importantly, say, it is important that we look upon ourselves as part of a larger community. It does us no good not to do that. And I also want to say that it is super important that we not let our sort of isolation here persist, that we have to see ourselves as a whole community, and we will all benefit. Thank you.
Thank you. Good evening, ma'am. Name and address for the record, please. You have 3 minutes.
Hey, good evening. Nicole Hefty, resident of the Rosedale Gardens neighborhood here in the beautiful city of Livonia. Just a couple things. First and foremost, it is June 1st, so happy Pride to anyone who celebrates or observes. Pride Month is the month of June. It was set aside by the Clinton administration to both celebrate and observe the lives and the accomplishments and the contributions of LGBT folks in our country. Also to honor the lives that were lost during the AIDS epidemic. And so that's something that we think about every June. Something that I'm thinking about this June, though, is, like a lot of our residents here, I'm thinking about micro-transport, micro-mobility, because I work for the city of Dearborn Heights, and we're working on an ordinance right now for e-bikes. I don't know if you guys have seen it in your neighborhoods, but e-bikes that are possessed by kids are becoming a really big issue. In fact, actually, no joke, I was driving back here from work. I was on Ford, and I think it was Middle Belt, and there was a police officer that was holding a pink e-bike and a hose and hosing a stain in front of a car. Now, of course, I don't know what happened. I'm hoping that somebody just dropped an offensive ton of ice cream on the ground and called the cops. But, obviously, there are real bad things happening to kids who are using e-bikes outside of City Hall in Dearborn Heights, just across the street from a library on the quietest street you can think of. A kid was hit on an e-bike. And it was no fault of the driver. The kids were, 5 kids had passed and then one just, came out of nowhere. So I do want to just say and offer, we are working on ordinances, and, if you guys are working on anything or have anything that you want to share, the regional thing would be cool, especially with micromobility and microtransport. So I hope if any of you are interested, you'll contact me. I know you know how. So thank you very much. Have a good night.
Thank you. Okay, we're going to wrap up our first audience communication. There'll be another at the end. And we are now moving on to council announcements. I'll start at this end tonight. Ms. McDonald.
Alrighty, thank you. Good evening, everyone. Welcome. I would like to announce the May 2026 retirees. They've got a lot of combined years of service, and we definitely want to acknowledge them. First is Suzanne Wenner from Civil Service. She worked for the city for 24 years, 10 months. Kenneth Bignotti from the library with 35 years, 4 months. And last but not least, Ted Davis, Superintendent of Parks and Rec with 10 years, 11 months deferred. So congratulations, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. McCullough?
Yes. Thank you. I do have one thing. The gentleman that came up to speak on data centers, I would like, if I could gain support, to have law draft up an ordinance putting a moratorium on data centers.
We have a meeting on it on Wednesday.
We do have one? Okay, on the data centers? Okay, do we expect, if I may, to have a motion? We're going to discuss that. I'd like to.
You were at the meeting.
No, I know, but instead, I would like to.
May I?
Yes.
May I speak? I don't want to speak out of turn. Just to give a reminder to folks, Naz Cement, who is a student at Schoolcraft College, has done research on data centers internationally and what are best practices. At the committee meeting that we held in February, the Economic Development and Strategic Planning Committee, we asked law to draft a ordinance based on the German models, which seem to be some best practices, because current zoning ordinances do not address data centers as a special entity, as this is a new thing. We also have in that to do a moratorium. Law has new information to present to us before we vote on the moratorium, and that is what our Wednesday night meeting is at 7 p.m. It'll be held here in the auditorium. So I was going to mention that, but
absolutely.
We both have audit moratorium action pending and ordinance writing.
And if I may, then scratch that, but I do have, through the chair, to Mr. Goldstein. Obviously, right now, your office is we're hiring. I know that there is a job posting, but you got a lot on your plate right now. The question I have right now is, if we were, because I know a lot of times we come up here, we put ordinances out there, requests for law to draft. Outside of data centers, but say in the instance of car washes or gas stations, is there a way that this body, if approved, could temporarily, for a certain said period of time, enact a temporary moratorium on said function right from the dais, or does an ordinance have to be drafted?
Yes, please.
Our research has shown that state and federal courts enforcing Michigan law almost consistently reject the council having authority to do moratoriums by resolution.
Okay, so ordinance is the way to go.
Unless you want to get sued and lose.
Okay. No, listen, and that's where right now, kind of segueing in, is we do have, Mr. Hauser, we were talking about the native plants ordinance. We have a lot of ordinances currently with law, and I want to let everybody know that, we haven't forgot about it. The minute that we do get these draft ordinances back, we will schedule meetings, as Councilwoman Budzinski said. We have one already, obviously, Wednesday. I just wanted to bring up the fact that there was a way to enact these things, because it seems like, application after application, we keep growing on different uses. So just to let everybody know out there that law is working diligently. We haven't forgot about it. We do want to celebrate some of the cool things, native plants, and even the LED lights for the gentleman that's probably watching at home. And once we get those, we'll schedule up the meetings. Thank you.
Mr. Brockway? Anything? No? Okay. Ms. Tashnik?
Thank you, Madam Chair. A couple things. Next Monday, June 8th, we have our annual audit reports for the period of December 1st through 2024 through November 30th of 2025. That meeting will be held here in the auditorium, so that'll be at 7 p.m. I did want to give a shout out to Karen Bonanno and the Save Our Youth organization for another fun 5K this past Saturday. I know President Reed was there, Councilmember Budzinski was there. I think we all had our best times. I mean,
not by a long shot.
Not by a long shot either.
I was pushing all three boys, so it took Ms. Tashik and I an hour for the 5K.
I was also walking a 9-pound dog, so anyway. And then speaking of fun family events, we do have the Passport to Safety this coming Saturday. That's always not to be missed. Come out and see all our public safety things that we have. I also want to give a special congratulations to all the graduates from Livonia this past weekend. Clarenceville, Franklin, Churchill, and Stevenson. We have probably about 1,000 new high school graduates in our city right now, so that's very exciting to have them enter. A couple things that came up during audience communication, and through the chair to Mr. Goldstein. I remember Mr. Fisher told us that meeting minutes are a recap and accounting of the meeting, but they don't necessarily make the votes binding. The votes themselves make that binding. I'm not sure if there's some confusion there or not, but maybe you can look into that and just get back to us, or I know there was some question about the.
If you want me to address that now, I'd
Sure,
be
yeah.
prepared to.
I'd be okay with that.
The minutes are a record of the votes. The votes are the votes. And the whole process of approving the minutes, it kind of holds the voting impact in abeyance so that there's an opportunity for someone to say, wait, this vote was not recorded properly. It's not an opportunity to re-argue. And that's why from time to time, the mayor will issue a non-veto letter and thus accelerate, and then it's, the time period for going into effect is shortened because we're not waiting for the minutes to be approved and then for the time period for the mayor to veto to expire. So to recap, the vote, the act of voting is the legal impact. The minutes is simply a device for council to have an opportunity to say, wait, this was not recorded correctly. It's still the voting act is what happens. That's where the magic moment is.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure that we're all very clear on that and there's no confusion. So I actually almost giggled a little bit when Ms. Hefty talked about the e-bikes being possessed by the kids. I think the kids are possessed that are actually on them sometimes when I'm trying to walk the dog down the sidewalk. But I would, all joking aside, I would like to refer to the Law and Education Committee for us to look at e-bikes and maybe scooters.
Support.
And the reason on that is just, I think we need to look at maybe some underage issues. You see helmets, are they street legal, are they not street legal, age issues and those kinds of things. So we need to have maybe a conversation about it.
If I may, Council President?
Mr. Mayor.
Would you be okay to add golf carts?
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah, any kind of, are they
Yeah.
street legal or not?
Don't we already have an ordinance on golf carts?
No, we've talked about it, we never really passed it.
I just to put it in so we can cover the topic if we wanted to.
Yeah.
Mr. Goldstein?
For what it's worth, I believe the construct of the law is that we can't have golf carts in Livonia as it is. I believe there's some interplay between state law and local law. There's nothing wrong with us, I think, pursuing an ordinance just for clarity's sake.
Exactly.
But I do believe that it's already against law under state law.
And if we could just include it just to cover it, that's because
I would be fine with that. If we can clarify that,
yeah,
and then just
that's
look at the others. I'm not sure that we necessarily need a formal ordinance, but maybe we could just have a discussion and look at it.
sounds like a party meeting.
I see no harm if that's what council wants to do. As long as it's consistent with state law, it can do it.
Okay, so e-bikes, e-scooters, golf carts.
So then the motion's on the floor to send that to Law and Ed.
Okay, any other comments from council on this? Any comments from the audience? Madam Clerk, please take the vote.
Councilmember Tashnik.
Aye.
Vice President Brockway.
Aye.
Councilmember McCullough.
Aye.
Councilmember McDonald.
Yes.
Councilmember Budzinski.
Aye.
Councilmember Persicone.
Aye.
President Reed.
Aye, so that will go to the Law and Education Committee. Anything else, Ms. Tashnik?
I'm good, thank you.
Okay, Ms. Persicone, anything tonight?
Ms. Tashnik stole all my thunder tonight, so I'm all set.
Ms. Budzinski?
She mostly did the same for me. But I will just say I have a coffee hour on June 13th. This one is at 1 p.m. at the Civic Center Library. Council President Kaylee Reed will be my guest, so you can come and ask us questions. As always, they're open to anyone who would like to join. We'll have Looney Baker and some drinks, juices and cold coffees. Bring your questions. I'll go over all the things that have happened on council since the last meeting. It's a fun time and hope to see you there.
Thank you. And so I will just say we have new data for item 17. And then June 3rd, everyone, alert, June 3rd. It's a spree wristband flash sale, 24 hours only. That's it. It's the only time you get to get them cheaper. And it's a good deal. It's 24 hours. Yeah. Okay, so we will move on to our consent agenda. Items 1 through 16 on the consent agenda will be voted on as one item. These items were previously discussed at the study meeting that took place on May 18th, 2026, and determined to be non-controversial. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Support.
Motion by Persicone, support by Tashnik. Any comments from the audience? Good evening, sir. Name and address, please. You have 2 minutes.
Christopher Martin, great state of Michigan. Want to talk about number 12? This is the caretaker at Greenmead. When this was initially thought about, it was a city employee who worked at Greenmead and lived in that caretaker house. That's how it started. And it had morphed from that into a caretaker that reported things to the building and maintenance or some branch of the government to come and make repairs over there. But it originally started like that. I'm against having someone live there for nothing. Okay? There should be some rent on that piece of property. And I realize that in the past it was always somebody's buddy or friend. I don't know about this guy. He might be a nice guy. He might do an excellent job. At the end of the day, a lot of people can do an excellent job and be a nice guy and pay rent. So that's what I would like to see. Thank you.
Any other comments from the audience? Madam Clerk, please take the vote.
Councilmember Tashnik.
Aye.
Vice President Brockway.
Aye.
Councilmember McCullough.
Aye.
Councilmember McDonald.
Yes.
Councilmember Budzinski.
Aye.
I'm sorry. Councilmember Persicone.
Aye.
President Reed.
Aye, and the consent agenda passes 7-0. All right, we'll move on to unfinished business, item number 17. This is a request to amend Council Resolution 402-25. This comes from Brandon Grisco on behalf of Manikin Smith Group and 6 Mile LLC in connection with petition 2025-07-02-15, removing a condition from the land use approval requiring access to Fox Drive. Council? Can I get some direction?
I'd like to offer a denial motion.
Support.
Okay, we have a motion by Brockway, support by McDonald. Any comments?
Madam Chair?
Yes.
Ms. Persicone?
Thank you. I do have a few questions, if I may, through the chair to Mr. Grisco.
Sure.
Particularly for me, the access point drive to Fox Drive is important for this to move forward. If I recall, there was another parcel, I think it was a hotel on that same property that has an access point onto Fox Drive that was directly behind this site. Is that accurate?
That is correct. There is an emergency access that goes from the back of the old Buca site into the area of the hotel property.
So,
and then onto Fox Drive, of course, from there.
so the hotel, I'm going to call it the hotel property because
Sure.
there's nothing on there right now, correct? It's vacant right now?
I would have to go back and review a map of that, but as I understand it, that emergency access goes back and then crosses the hotel property and then out onto Fox Drive.
So that hotel property connects to this property, your client's property?
Through the
petitioner's-
access in the back, that's correct.
And that is an access that's available to all of the vehicles? It's an ingress, egress, anyone can use that, it's not?
It's physically accessible. I don't know that we've evaluated the legalities of using the emergency access to cross over somebody else's property to get out onto Fox Drive.
Okay.
But yes, physically, it's there, and one could access it.
But your petitioner has not sought permission to utilize that drive, is what you're saying?
We have had discussions concerning that, similar to the other property owner, which is to the west. And those discussions haven't panned out into any sort of binding agreement. So that's what brings us here today. And I don't know when the appropriate time would be, Council President, but I would like to say a few things whenever that time has come.
Okay, let's get through council. Any
Sure.
questions council has? Do you have anything else, Ms. Persicone?
Hold on, I will, but if anyone else has any questions, I just got to find them. I had one more, I think.
Mr. McCullough?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Through the chair to Mr. Grisco. Okay, so here's my dilemma. Obviously, there's an approved project. I think there's not anybody in the city that wouldn't want to see that light, right? I think we can all agree on that. Obviously, the development, we had kind of a split vote on council, and it snuck through. My issue right now is, just as Councilman Persicone brought in, is egress. I know the traffic study was done, in 2022 or 2023. When this was, if you could recall some of my questions, there's a huge development that's going to be taking place, which it is now, with hotels, apartments, Whole Foods. There's a lot more traffic, and I was concerned about that at that time. I did review the traffic study, and I think that it was a very detailed, and I appreciate that. I've spoke with neighboring businesses. I've spoke to the petitioner, and I am sympathetic to the fact that it was an approved project, but at the end of the day, this isn't the city's problem with the Fox Drive. That's between private businesses. But getting to this point, that is my sticking point, is the fact that with the traffic study being limited and prior to that huge development, and the fact that we have nothing, I'm sure you might cover this, but like you got cars going in, and now they're going to have to basically come right out on 6 Mile. There's no permanent egress other than a fire lane. That's my issue. And I think, obviously, in a perfect world, if you guys could have that to Fox Drive, then this building would probably already be up. That's my concern. I drive it every day, and that is just crazy. I'm worried about stacking. I know that this is more of a bigger car wash that can hold cars. But even on some of them, I think everybody probably has a monthly pass to a car wash at this point. At least for me, even in the middle of, not even in the middle of traffic, we stop. And you just stop in there it's like Peter Pan's flight from Disney World. You just stop, and it's like, all right, just wait. And I worry about that coupled with the stacking. I'm sure you will cover it. That's my sticking point coming from me, and I'll leave it at that. If anybody else wants to talk.
Any questions from anyone else? Ms. McDonald?
Not so much questions. I have kind of a little bit of a review from what's in our packet in reference to what happened with the Planning Commission. There was a conversation, or a couple different conversations. First off was from Mr. Droz from the Planning Commission, and it's in reference to Fox Drive, and it referenced to from Mr. Bongiorno, it says, how crucial to the traffic management, in your opinion, is the additional access onto Fox Drive? You know what I'm saying. That's needed, right, to pull this off. They're going to need that. And if they don't, because there's not a guarantee yet, they don't have it. They've been talking to them but don't have it. And this was the answer from the woman who created the traffic study back in 2023, who addressed the Planning Commission back in the summer. It says, for the car wash, yes, I think you definitely need a second. And another follow-up to that, and it says that Bongiorno was questioning the follow-up, what's the holdup on it? And there was some discussion on that. And one of the items that was discussed was that this should not come to council unless they have an approval for that access, that it even really shouldn't even be here. And that was the Planning Commission back in August asking that. So I have many concerns in reference to the traffic going in and out of that area. I did send an email to the traffic officer, and I apologize. I just received an email back from him. I did forward that information on to everybody. But just to kind of go over what he was saying, and I had to kind of read it quickly. He sent the traffic study for the 6 and Haggerty project, but he made the comment, He said, lastly, is attached to the comprehensive traffic study completed in 2023 regarding the proposed 6 Mile and Haggerty development. He said, I share your concern that the combination of this large development and proposed car wash will likely increase traffic activity in the area. While I'm not a traffic engineer, I can only speak from a law enforcement safety perspective. I do anticipate potential traffic concerns that may arise as development progresses. My understanding that the traffic signal has been proposed for this intersection of 6 Mile and Fox Drive, which should improve traffic flow for vehicles onto Fox Drive and may also reduce the likelihood of traffic crashes. Haggerty, as you know, is an extremely busy section of road through the city. I don't know if this proposed development will rise to the level of traffic we see on 8 and Haggerty, for example, but the increased traffic in this area will certainly be expected as a result. So, you know, as is, I cannot support it without having that access point. I think it's critical, and it's unfortunate, but, you know, somehow, you know, I just can't support it as it is. Thank you.
Thank you. Anything else from council?
Madam
Any
Chair?
questions for
Actually, I have a
Ms. Tashnik?
Thank you. Like Mr. McCullough said, I don't think any one of us would deny that we want this traffic safety light there. Obviously, it would be a definite improvement. People using Fox Drive and then a signal to turn on to 6 Mile would be a lot safer than I think the current situation is. This would essentially also be an offset signal, so with Fox Drive and Quakertown, they would have like a dedicated lights for them, and there'd be no conflict or cars hitting each other. So that would definitely be a safety improvement. I know at the Planning Commission meeting, it was stated that at the study, that the property owner to the north was there and agreement was sent over the next day. I guess I'm conflicted on what the holdup is. I mean, we've heard about reasonable attempts, we've heard, but what exactly, where are we at with this? I mean, that's kind of my sticking point as well. Where are we at with that? And I'll pause there for a minute if that's okay and let the petitioner speak.
Sure, I'd be happy to address that. So at the time that statement was made, and I think you even noted Councilwoman Tashnik, I got to be careful to use everybody's proper name and title, or Scott Barr will yell at me maybe after this. But no, I'm just kidding. I'd like to pepper in a joke every now and then. But at the time that statement was made, that property owner, who I think you even indicated had attended that meeting, and indicated that there would be certain terms under which access would be acceptable. And so consequently, right within that time frame, like the very next day or very next week or something like that, a letter of intent was sent over. That was included in the Planning Commission packet, and I think it's in the council record as well. And consequently, subsequently rather, some difficulties developed in the communication between the parties where there was just sort of a breakdown. So we've continued all along to try to stay engaged with that property owner. We can't guarantee any results in that regard, but we continue to try. And there's been numerous letters and text messages and emails and phone calls from other members of the business community urging this property owner to engage on this issue as well. And so we continue to use all efforts.
Thank you. Can I have another question? Thank you. Actually, this question is more for Mr. Goldstein, I believe. If council was to vote for a denial today, the current site plan and conditions would still hold. It wouldn't deny the project as a whole. It would just, we would be beholden to the current site plan, correct?
Well, I think that's correct. I think that's correct. The motion, if you will, that's before this body is to amend the existing approved plan, not to eliminate it. So the denial today would not eliminate that plan. It would just reject reject this petition to modify that plan by removing a condition.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure that that was clear. All right, thank you. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Any other questions from council? Okay, did you want to add anything else before we go to the audience?
I do have a number of things to add, yes.
Okay.
Number one is, I think Councilwoman McDonald even mentioned it. For whatever traffic concerns may exist, I think everybody agrees that the traffic signal is going to improve traffic conditions at that intersection. So by allowing the petitioner to do this, the council is improving the very traffic conditions that they're afraid will occur. That's the first point I want to say. The second point is that the traffic study was utilized or was created by HRC, it's an engineering firm, based on data that they recovered or studied in 2022, and then that study was subsequently published in 2023. That study itself assumed a rate of growth for traffic for the future development of this area, and it assumed that rate at 1% per year. So if you continue, and this was all in the new data that Council President Reed mentioned. There was a memo, a letter to the council that I drafted, and included citations to the various documents within the record. I know that the council has likely seen that already, but I just want to draw the council's attention to a few items within that letter. So number one, that letter indicates that the HRC study assumed a 1% growth rate for traffic. Okay, that combined with the engineer-performed trip generation memo, which is also referenced in that letter and also part of the record for the council today, that memo indicates that the net traffic impact, okay, between a buca style of restaurant and a car wash such as we have here today is right within that 1% assumed growth rate for the traffic study. So this was the whole reason that the trip generation memo was created in the first place, is because the Planning Commission had concerns that this traffic study is a couple years old, so consequently we need to make sure there's not going to be an adverse impact on traffic in that area. And so that's where the trip generation memo comes in, answers a different question. The traffic study that was performed by HRC was what's called a signal warrant study. That was studying specifically whether or not a traffic signal is warranted at the area of 6 Mile and Fox Drive or Quakertown. So having then decided that a traffic signal is warranted there for safety reasons, the next question is, okay, well, how is a car wash going to impact traffic in the area? Now, traffic to and from a car wash is largely going to be what we call pass-by traffic. So currently, the IT trip generation manual utilizes as the highest rate of pass-by traffic 63%. Industry standards for car wash are more like 75%. What this means is that for every 100 cars that go to a car wash, 75 of them would have been driving by anyways. And that number itself, that 75% number, is actually itself a conservative estimate. The correct number may be anywhere from 80 to 90% of traffic is passed by. And you can think about this in your own lives. I mean, you're usually hitting a car wash on the way to or from work or wherever you're going. You're not necessarily going to be making a special trip out in order to go to the car wash. So those are a couple of the things that I would say about the traffic issues generally. As to Fox Drive, so the HRC engineer that made the comment at the Planning Commission meeting indicating that the Fox Drive access was important, okay, that was never studied. The issue of whether or not Fox Drive was needed or not was not studied. It was something that was proposed in the petitioner's site plan because they want it, candidly, and we continue to want to work for it. But it's not as though traffic engineers studied this site and determined that, well, we need access out onto Fox Drive or else this just isn't a workable plan. That's not what happened at all. Rather, the HRC traffic engineer, in response to an off-the-cuff question from a planning commissioner, responded that she felt, in her opinion, apparently, that this was very important. But the petitioner does not adopt that position, and we actually don't believe that the Fox Drive access is critical. And in fact, nothing in the record that is in the council packet in any way indicates that Fox Drive access would make a difference in this project at all. Another thing I want to say is that the peak car wash hours, based on decades of industry experience in the car wash business, is 8 to 10 cars in a stack. Our site has 21 car stack capability. So to the extent that there would be any potential traffic congestion as a result of not having a Fox Drive access, which we don't think is an issue at all, but to the extent that that issue exists, the existing site conditions have an additional 10, 11 cars that we can stack up in order to accommodate any traffic congestion that would be possible. Now, additionally, the site is going to be configured such that the existing approach is going to be moved to the east. This is going to allow for that signal to go in. What we know and what we all agree is that that traffic signal is going to improve traffic conditions, it's going to improve traffic safety. Peak commuting hours, we can all surmise, are 8 a.m., 9 a.m., something like this. Peak car wash hours start at 10 o'clock. So at the time that the car wash is at its peak, the general commuting traffic will have already come through. So these are all factors that I urge the council to consider, and we would actually request that this motion to deny be amended, friendly amendment, hopefully, to be changed to a motion to approve based on what's actually in the record and not based on generalized traffic concerns that actually don't have any support in the record beyond sort of a stray remark from a traffic engineer in response to sort of an off-the-cuff planning commissioner question. And I would also like to, I assume that my friends in the audience are going to have a number of comments as well, so I would ask to be allowed to respond to those issues as well before the council votes. And of course, I'm available for any additional questions that the council has.
Thank you, Mr. Grisco. Okay, so we will now go to audience comments on this item, but I just want to remind you, we are voting on amending this council resolution. It's not on the car wash. So you'll have 2 minutes. Name and address, please.
Hi, my name is Victoria Wysocki. I live at 16348 Aldridge Court in the Quakertown subdivision. Obviously, we're very concerned about traffic on 6 Mile Road. Getting in and out of our subdivision is difficult. People illegally turn left out of Fox Drive all the time, despite there being a sign there. One of the things we were assured when this came up in December for a vote is that there would be a traffic light. And now I'm not sure if this is clear or not, because he said some things that may correct this, but it sounded like that if they didn't get access to Fox Drive, Wayne County might not approve a traffic light. And if that's the case, then I don't know how we can do this without putting the exit onto Fox Drive, because if there's another exit added to 6 Mile, it messes with the staggered stoplights. And I don't have a picture of what this looks like, but I'm concerned. It's already very difficult for us to get in and out of our sub. You can't imagine what it's been like the last couple weeks when there's a down to 1 lane on 6 Mile. And Haggerty was down to 1 lane. It's been insane to try to navigate. I just want to make sure that what was approved by the board in December, which actually sort of happened underhanded a little bit, it seemed to me, because it didn't take a vote the night we talked about it, and then it sort of happened and nobody heard about it. But anyway, if this goes through, I feel like they need to make sure that that traffic light does happen, and if the Fox Drive exit is required for that to happen, then we need to make sure that happens, because if it doesn't, our ability to get in and out of our subdivision is going to be made worse by this. There is no question in my mind. So, thank you.
Thank you. Good evening, sir. Name and address for the record, please. You have 2 minutes.
Sam Baki, 11907 Adams Court, Livonia, Michigan. I've been a resident since 1985, and I've moved around the whole city. And I've developed a lot of properties, and I've been assisting this car wash since the beginning, behind the scene. I don't know if a lot of people know, whoever knows me well from the past, I'm a civil engineer by trade, and I've designed and developed properties. This property was approved with an access off to Fox Drive. Everybody knows without the light, that access to Fox Drive for this car wash is gonna hinder Fox Drive more than help it. The trigger point right now is not the access, it's the light at that corner. Like she mentioned, like everybody's mentioning. And that light's controlled by one person only, the person who owns that strip of land that, trust me, we've talked to, agreed, disagreed, and offered a lot of money for it, and still denied to do any transactions. Wayne County wants it, City of Livonia wants it, Schoolcraft wants it, neighbors wants it. We all do. But he controls that. Without him selling that property or somebody taking over that property from him, that light will never happen. Has nothing to do with the car wash, has nothing to do with anybody around. What this car wash was willing to do, assist with the funding for this light. Now, the design is have entrance and exit off of 6 Mile. We said we have an access in the back through the hotel. There was through a resolution years and years ago. For them to get their approval, they had to have an access of 6 mile for their safety, for trucks, for the fire trucks and everything, which had happened. That's why we're talking about that access.
Thank you, sir. That is time.
Okay.
Good evening, ma'am. Name and address for the record, please. You have 2 minutes.
Barbara Malcolm. I live in Quakertown at 38952 Rio. My question is the traffic light. When I was at one of the meetings before, I thought the engineers told us that that light would allow people from Quakertown to turn left and right out of our sub, and that it would do that same for Fox Drive. Now, I want to make sure that's still the way it's going to be, not just for Fox Drive, or otherwise we're never going to get out of our sub. That needs to accommodate both of them, and I'm not sure if it actually will. I don't know if they can look at that again or not, but that is my big concern.
Thank you. Good evening, ma'am. Name and address for the record. You have 2 minutes.
Katie Rogowitz, Livonia. I work at 6 Mile and Haggerty. So currently, because of the construction and just the traffic alone, I utilize Newburgh to 5 Mile and come back up around because it's actually faster, which is weird. But in regards to the light, I thank you for clarifying because I didn't know about I had a suspicion though, because every time I leave work around 3, 4 o'clock, people are making left-hand turns from Fox Drive out onto 6 Mile, which I can tell is illegal because of the sidewalk. It's curved. So that means you can't make a left turn and people do it anyway. You guys can put out as many lights as you want. Obviously there needs to be one there. But it seems like there's a pattern of behavior in Livonia of putting the cart before the horse. You guys approve stuff and then you have all these problems you have to deal with about what you've already approved, which is just dumb. So, I mean, obviously this is a dumb location for this, whatever, but now you guys are committed, so we have to figure out how. Now, one of the issues I've noticed before this even happened is people leaving the freeway, getting off at 6 Mile, they run that light, and I'm not talking they slow down, they blow that light and I mean, we're going 45, some people are going 55, I've seen school buses pass me, and people will fly off that 6 Mile exit ramp and turn right. There needs to also be a no turn on red there. So the light is just scratching the surface. Also, you just approved 12 cars for Livonia, and I haven't seen them run radar since COVID. So what's the point of traffic lights and stop signs and no turns on reds if your police department isn't going to enforce anything? It's really kind of just futile. I mean, I feel bad for the people in the neighborhood because I see you guys trying to leave. I try to let you guys in. People are rude. You have semi-trucks who blatantly ignore the law. Now, if the police were out there, those are some hefty commercial tickets too, by the way. That's a big money maker. Revenue, for your little pet projects you guys like to do. Start enforcing ordinances. Start having the police write tickets. Make that money. Who cares? What are they going to do? Not vote for you because you get tickets?
That is time. Thank you. Good evening, sir. Name and address for the record. You have 2 minutes.
Good evening, Madam President. Jim Biggle, Livonia, Michigan. If you take a look at the map for the traffic signal concept, I don't know what planet whoever came up with this design is on, but they show 2 lines at least 50, 60 feet away from that traffic light. Nobody in Livonia, nobody in Wayne County, nobody in the state of Michigan stops that far away, assuming that line will stay there permanently year-round. We have snow. We have rain. We have night. That line is not going to appear, and people are not going to stop that far away from it. Who decided to put one light there? That's a cost-effective light. There should be staggered lights. There should be multiple lights on that intersection so that people at Fox Drive, people at Quakertown Lane could get off. It shouldn't be one strand of lights. It needs to be staggered. Take a look at this map. This map is inadequate for it. This is one of the reasons why you should deny this petition. I don't know, this was not in last December's map where it was rushed through and a revote was taken on I believe it was, we revoted on our minutes because we didn't like what was in there. And I think I'll talk about that in our 3 minutes at the end, because we didn't like the vote that was taken the meeting before, and we had a resolution, we had to revote on that. But if you take a look at this, I think as a no vote on the concept that's presented, this needs to be part of why you say no. I know that it's important to have the access for the car wash, but I don't understand how the car wash you're going to get in and out of 6 Mile without traffic lights to help control the traffic in and out of that area. Thank you.
Good evening, sir. Name and address, please. You have 2 minutes.
Jeff Horka from Masco Corporation, 17450 College Parkway. I spoke last time on the 18th about this issue. I said that there was a 20-foot or a 25-foot piece of land and concern that we're trying to acquire, and I suggested eminent domain because of the prior speakers and the lack of support by the individual that owns that land. There are 8,500 students at Schoolcraft College. There's 200 employees at Masco. There's probably 500 patients that go in out of St. Joe's on a daily basis. I would bet half the students at Schoolcraft live south of 6 Mile Road. So let's cut that in half. Let's give it 2,000. Half of Masco's employees live south of 6 Mile. As a matter of fact, 75% of them do. This project makes sense. The fact that we're holding this up because of a little piece of land at 40 feet to be corrected should not be the case. This needs to get resolved. We're going to have an issue, a tragic issue at that intersection if we do not take care of this and get this project moving. Mr. Miller's presented a great opportunity at the corner. There's several of us, corporate citizens, and we're citizens as well. We live in Livonia, we work in Livonia, we travel through Livonia, we pay taxes in Livonia. We need to get this corrected. We need to resolve it tonight and not table it for another several months of studies and so on. I think you have the adequate information you need to make this happen.
Thank you. Good evening. Name and address. You have 2 minutes.
Denise Micah, Livonia. The traffic study and everything I think is so important to be redone. The talk about 1% change, I mean, if you just drive that road, it's way more than 1% difference, and it's not even people coming out of Whole Foods yet, okay? And so I frequent that area a lot, and it's crazy. And I really feel sorry for the Quaker people because a couple times that they were at the meeting in force and everything, and then everything was like, oh, we'll do it another time. And then, as I stated at another council meeting, we had to have that beloved December 17th vote so that the council, the future council, wouldn't have any problems with it. Well, here we are. We're still having problems. I don't think we should push this through. I think it should be well thought out. And I really don't think we should use eminent domain in this situation. It's not our city problem on it. It's a developer's problem, and they have to figure it out with with everybody else. So there's a lot of other places in Livonia I'd love to use eminent domain on, but a car wash on Fox Drive and 6 Mile is not the place for it. So thank you.
Thank you. Good evening. Name and address. You have 2 minutes.
Good evening, Nicole Hefty, Rosedale Gardens neighborhood, Livonia, Michigan. I recently completed the Safe Streets study for the city of Dearborn Heights, and as I was doing that, because I'm so very interested in data, I also pulled up the exact same data from the same sources on our city. So if you look at SEMCOG, S-E-M-C-O-G, they have traffic maps that these traffic study people tend to use, which is really funny because we also pay for them. This is something that we'll talk about some other time. Every city has that problem. But according to SEMCOG's data, the asphalt that is on this particular roadway has been rated as fair. It's not, in the best of working condition, and the traffic volume the last time they studied it in this particular segment was about 26,700. Now, I'm double checking this just to make sure I'm not talking out of my ear here, but that's a significant amount of people that are going through that, and that's daily. So I just kind of want to put that out there as kind of being a bit of an issue. I take a little bit of a hesitation with someone who says that we need to approve a car wash to improve traffic. I have a kind of an issue with that. I get a little itchy because I feel like that's absolute bullshit. Sorry to swear in this proceeding, but that's not cool. That is not a public-private partnership. That's a dictatorship. It's very, very different. Thank you. That's it.
Thank you. Any other audience communication on this item? Mr. Grisco, did you want to respond?
I would love to. Thank you. So just to be clear, I think it's a little bit confusing as people kind of keep going back and forth on this issue. So the traffic signal does not in any way depend on access to Fox Drive. The traffic signal does not depend on access to Fox Drive, has nothing to do with it. The traffic signal depends on the property owner for 38888 6 Mile Road moving its driveway to the east. Okay, once that driveway moves to the east, it will be far enough away from the traffic signal where Wayne County will permit it. That is what the county requires in order for this traffic signal to go in. The access to Fox Drive is just not relevant to that point. The reason that Fox Drive has become relevant is because it has been foisted upon us as the petitioner to obtain access to Fox Drive in order to make this development move forward, which is the catalyst. Development moving forward is the catalyst for us moving the driveway. If we put another fine dining restaurant in there, there's no reason for the driveway to move because a new restaurant coming in is going to want traffic to be able to turn out both left and right. However, if we move our driveway approach to the east, it's going to be a right in, right out only configuration. The distance separation between Fox Drive and the driveway being moved to the east and the right in, right out configuration is what allows that traffic signal to be permitted. Okay, so I just want to be super clear about that. The Fox Drive access just has nothing to do with it. Also, we don't, and I think this kind of plays into the last comment, we don't actually need to approve a car wash to improve traffic. The car wash use of that property has already been approved. All we're talking about now are what are the site conditions, okay? What are the site conditions under which that car wash should operate? And there is just simply nothing in the record that suggests, except for one stray comment warranted, there's nothing in the record that suggests that this Fox Drive access is going to impact traffic on 6 Mile Road in any way. The trip generation memo, in conjunction with the existing traffic study, those are the documents that we need to be looking at. That traffic study accounted for the growth in traffic over time. The trip generation memo shows that the net impact of a car wash compared with a fine dining restaurant is within that 1% assumed growth rate. Okay, so that's what I want to say, and I think that those are the most important things to keep in mind. So because we've supplied this information, we now have an accurate picture of what the traffic conditions are and what the impact of a car wash use is going to be on that area. A new study, if we were to do a new study, or if somebody did a new study, the studies look at existing traffic conditions, and then they use the ITE traffic generation manual in order to assume what a particular use of property would generate. We've already done that. We used the ITE traffic generation manual in order to come up with the trip generation memo. So we believe that the information that we've provided to the council shows clearly that this is not going to have an adverse impact on traffic on 6 Mile Road. Again, the traffic signal that everybody agrees will improve the traffic conditions in that area is only possible if we remove the condition that is keeping this development from progressing. That condition is the Fox Drive access. We want that condition removed. We are committed to and would be fine with language within a substitute resolution that indicates that we will continue to use reasonable efforts in order to obtain that access. We want to do that. We think it would be good for business to do that. But we can't have that condition foisted upon us, a condition that we have no control over. The council is telling us that in order to move forward with an approved land use, that we need to somehow force a private property owner to give us access over his property. It's just not reasonable. And there's no nexus. There's simply not a nexus in between the traffic impact and the cost of doing a traffic signal and obtaining access over private property. It's not proportional to the traffic impact, which, as I've explained, there just simply is not a significant traffic impact here. And so I would ask the council respectfully to consider these things, to consider the letter that I wrote that lays all of this out in detail with exhibits, with citations to the existing record of materials that is in front of the council. And I would urge the council to amend its motion to an approving rather than a denying, to approve our request so that this project can move forward, so that public safety in the form of this traffic signal can be permitted and secured. And that's going to benefit everybody. You've heard how it's going to benefit neighboring businesses. It's going to benefit students of Schoolcraft College. It's going to benefit people trying to come in and out of Quakertown. And it's going to benefit anybody else that's going to be using Fox Drive. Thank you.
Thank you. Any comments from Ms. Tashnik?
Thank you. I do have a couple more questions, Mr. Grisco, if you want to hang tight.
I thought that was my mic drop moment,
Sorry.
Councilwoman.
Sorry, I had to
That's
call you
okay.
back. And it is unfortunate that all these issues didn't come up during Planning Commission and that we couldn't have gotten in front of them then. But what other options do we have if we cannot get Fox Drive access? What options do we have?
The options are that the project does not proceed, in which case the driveway remains where it's at, and there will be no traffic signal for the foreseeable future.
So there's no other access points we could use instead?
Not that I'm aware of. I mean, it is possible, I suppose, as Mr. Bakke mentioned, that there is the emergency access that traverses the hotel property. And I think that's something that we would continue to look at as well. But we just simply can't control access over a third party's property.
Right. No, I understand that with Fox Drive, but is there a way that we could perhaps go and get a binding agreement with the back access that the hotel's going to be having?
It's possible. It hasn't happened yet.
So I guess this is kind of a sticking point for me. We've got all these, it could happen, it's possible, maybe. I mean, I'm not saying that I want to jump at a denial, but I'm also not ready to approve without some sort of tangible access here. And yeah, I know it's a sticking point with Fox Drive. I know it's become a point, but it's a point. Let's say we don't get Fox Drive and perhaps we get the back access by the hotel. Would the driveway still be able to move to the east so that we can get the light?
I'm sorry, under what conditions would the driveway be able to be moved to the
But
east?
would we still be moving, regardless of whether we get Fox Drive or not, would we still be moving the driveway to the east?
Yes.
Okay. So that's, because I know that was some of the questions from the
Yes, so
audience.
if we do not get any access to Fox Drive, whether through the north end of the property or through the west end of the property, if council approves our request, we will continue to move the driveway to the east, which will allow the traffic signal to go in, and that will be shifted to a right-in, right-out only configuration for the driveway. And we just wouldn't have Fox Drive, and we don't think it would be a significant impact.
Okay. And I understand the 21 car stack that we talked about.
Yes.
And that it's very rare that we're probably going to have 21 cars stacked up unless it's a beautiful day in February and everyone wants to get the salt off their car. But what about emergency access if we don't have Fox Drive and we don't have the back access by the hotel?
So you're asking,
But
well,
what would we do
so
for emergency
emergency
access?
vehicles would be able to use the emergency access. That wouldn't be a problem.
Regardless. Okay.
Yeah.
Because there was some confusion on that earlier too, so I want to make sure we've got that covered.
Yeah, the question I was raising earlier was with respect to whether or not we can just divert our normal traffic over somebody else's property, but the fact that there's an emergency access there is fine for public safety use.
So that wouldn't be blocked. Okay, yeah, thank you. I'm struggling with it still.
Mr. McCullough?
Through the chair to Mr. Gresco. At least, so looking at the traffic, the one-of-one page for the traffic concept, the updated one that we're looking at, the residents come in. Do you know off the top of your head, can the Quakertown head east or west at that light?
Yes, so as I understand it, this will be a offset traffic signal, substantially similar to other offset traffic signals, which are not terribly uncommon. The Quakertown light will have its own green, and the Fox light will have its own green so that they're going at separate times, left or right.
Thank you. So here's, and I'm just going to even lead with more of a statement on this. You guys both came up and you talked about the light. I drive this every day going west, and with those cones out there right now, it's a nightmare. And so, yeah, I know. I know.
Yeah, we can't have.
But at the same sense, I was trying to navigate through it too, and I look at it and I go, this is one of those decisions that, it could be a decade before Wayne County comes out and says, let's put a light there, right? Unless the development's there. And the other issue is with moving that and with the egress, the business might have some loopholes because that's business. They're going to be confined to their area. I'm just trying right now to outweigh the decision to say, is it benefit Livonia better with this development to get that light or not? And that is where my sticking point is. Obviously, if Fox Drive was still an option, this would be already pursuing. So that's all I've got for right now. We'll go back to the discussion board.
Oh, okay. Any other, Ms. Persconi?
Madam Chair, thank you. I would like to move to make a substitute motion to approve at this time, if I can get some support on that.
Support.
Okay, motion by Persconi, support by Tashnik.
Thank you. And here's where I'm at with this project. That light is the most important. It's my number one consideration in how I'm going to vote this evening, is that light. I drive up and down 6 and Haggerty. I work at 7 and Haggerty. The cut through of Fox Drive is going to become like what the cut through, I don't know what the name of the street is, over by where at 7 and Haggerty, where the new Beaumont is, that cuts back through the Costco and the Target and that whole complex. Fox Drive is going to be, it's going to be a thoroughway back there with these new developments. There's no doubt about it. The traffic, having the traffic lights there is imperative for the safety of the Quakertown residents and Schoolcraft students. There's no doubt about it. For that reason and that reason only, I don't like the word reasonable efforts that you're proposing. I'm an attorney. I know what reasonable means, and I know that that is subjective. I would like to see language that is more objective than reasonable efforts. I want to see, I've been thinking about what word we could use to be more firm with respect to that, because I would like you to be able to provide us with what you've been doing and the information so we know, because right now it's a contingency. This plan is, it was a contingent item for the approval. Mm-hmm. So with stronger language, and I would defer to you to come up with what that language is, I would be offering and approving, because I don't want to lose this light. I don't know when we'll get it back. It's millions, it's a multi-million-dollar investment in Livonia for the safety of the residents over there. And traffic is getting crazy over there, and we need it. So that is why I don't want to say reluctantly making this motion, because in a perfect world, I want Fox Drive, and I want that drive.
Madam Chair, point of order. We have a motion to substitute on the floor
first. Oh, that's right. I started
Sorry.
talking too much.
I thought you were going to
I started talking too much. I'm sorry. So we need to
vote on
take
that.
the vote on that.
You could come back if Madam Chair lets you.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
Does anyone want to comment on the substitute? Ms. Budzinski?
I'll comment on the substitute just to say that, this is my second bite at the apple, if you would, on this development, of which I did previously vote against, even with the secondary access. And, at the time, that was a key sticking, that was a ask that council had made at that time to approve this development. And I do kind of take a little umbrage in the fact that it's suggested that council is making unreasonable demands on the developer, when really site plan approval does rest with council. And the previous council resolution for approval had that secondary access as a requirement. That's what our job is here. That is what was previously determined to be, an acceptable component to a controversial development. And I'm going to maintain my stance on this, just because that's how I'm going to handle this situation. But I just wanted to provide that kind of statement, feedback, and explanation. Thank you.
Okay, any comments on the substitute motion from council? Ms. McDonald?
I'm not sure if this is the appropriate time to ask these questions, but I guess my question is, through the chair, how did the access even to Fox Drive even come to be?
Well, because as a matter of the car wash's business, they want their traffic to have the option to go out onto Fox Drive. It was proposed originally, I believe Mark could correct me if I'm wrong on this, but it was proposed as part of the site plan.
Before they
By
even
the
had,
petitioner.
before they had an approval for the property.
As part of the site plan submittal, that's right.
Okay. And I know you have, and I apologize for this, not the
Sorry, Ms.
traffic.
McDonald,
I'm
is
sorry.
this about the substitute,
Okay.
so we can vote on the substitute?
Okay, oh, okay,
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
you can
I'm
ask more,
sorry. That's
Mr.
fine.
McCullough.
All right, so in that crazy time, so I just thinking about if we don't approve this, the project right now, you have a developer that owns the land that most likely would either stay vacant or could stay a restaurant. Who knows? It could change hands. We don't get a light. You have monster development, and so and I'm speaking on it. And so for that reason, just because I fear for one life that could come out of there, especially even coming out of Quakertown without the light in that situation. And I'm going to support this substitute. Thank you.
Okay, any other comments from council on the substitute motion?
Madam Chair, just
Ms.
real quick.
Tashnik?
We are going to vote on substituting the motion. Then we will have the opportunity to amend the approving motion as well and make it as strict or as lenient as we want, or whatever stipulations, just to be clear for the new members of council how this works.
Gotcha. Any comments from the audience about the substituting this motion?
Sure, yeah.
Name and address,
It's not my
please.
call.
You have 2 minutes.
Hey, thanks, Steve King, Coventry. Yeah, I was just watching from home. I was just really confused. It's just really, really confusing. I thought Katie made a good point. All of this stuff should have been hashed out, so we're not where we are today. But Myers at 7 in Farmington, they had to put. Did they put that light in there? Right, and that was part of the deal, right? They couldn't build it without the light, and I know that was a big deal. So the car wash goes in, and they're going to build the light. And just clarification. No, they're not building the light? She's shaking her head. And you're saying, yes, they are, and you're saying, no, they're not.
Mr. King, this is just
Okay.
comments if you support or don't support the
Okay.
substitute motion.
Okay. I just want, just traffic studies. People pay for them. They give you the information you want. You want a real traffic study? Get a dash cam. Drive through that area day after day. I go by there all the time. All right, thanks.
Okay, Madam Clerk, please take the vote.
Councilmember Tashnik?
Aye.
Vice President Brockway?
No.
Councilmember McCullough?
Aye.
Councilmember McDonald?
No.
Councilmember Budzinski?
No.
Councilmember Persicconi?
Aye.
President Reed?
Aye. So substitute motion passes 4-3.
Okay.
Ms. Persicone?
Thank you, President Reed. So at this time, I would like to make a motion to approve this request. I was trying to find stronger language than the word, a stronger word than reasonable, to continue.
I'll support your motion so you can continue.
Oh, sorry.
Okay, so motion by Persicone, support by Tashnik. Floor is yours.
Thank you. So I'm open to suggestions from you, Mr. Grisco, as far as what kind of, what your reasonable means. I just think it needs to be more defined, because I think everyone, myself included, would ultimately like to see that Fox Drive. That it's a nice, it's going to be a busy thoroughway. It's important, I think, to everybody, certainly to the other council members I know that are up here right now that were a part of the original site plan. So, you know, if you can come up with some way of if there's any other words you can come up with that are more specific.
Real quick, Mrs. Persicone, if I can interject.
Yes.
Would you be amenable to adding, if we can't get Fox Drive, that we have to, or we need that back access by the hotel?
Yes, that would work.
So maybe you can work with one or the other.
Or another point. I
another
haven't
point.
studied that site plan enough to know if there's another point.
I think that, and I don't know exactly how to frame this either, quite frankly. You know, reasonable efforts are terms that you sometimes see in contracts for real estate and otherwise. So I think, respectfully, that I think it's something that a judge would be able to evaluate to the extent it were to get to some type of dispute, which I don't think it ever would. But I think a judge would be able to evaluate whether or not reasonable efforts were truly used. I'm fine with either or, but again, I want to stress that we just simply don't have control over what a third party might do or demand once they find out that suddenly their property is the golden ticket to our business development, which is already going to be $5 or $6 million, and then whatever else we have to pay in addition to that to get this access point. But sometimes what you do see in development agreements is that you have the city planning department, and they have requirements and recommendations that many approvals are subject to. And so perhaps the council may wish to consider planning department administrative reasonableness or something like that. I don't know exactly how that's going to function. I certainly don't think litigation with the neighboring landowner is reasonable. And I don't think substantial cost sort of beyond what's proportional to the development would be reasonable either. But again, that is all business sense and things that I, as a lawyer, wouldn't necessarily be able to speak to up here.
Madam Chair, then if I would, the language then I would be okay with reasonable efforts with respect to Fox Drive, with respect to the emergency egress, and or any other potential egress on that site.
Understood.
Okay, so we have a approving motion on the floor. Any other comments from council? Ms. Budzinski.
Yeah, just as a general, I think that the trend in conversation about this development request is really the desire to have the light. And so just as clarification, we know that Wayne County will approve it once the easement is, and I don't know who I'm asking, I don't know if it's Mark or the petitioner, that if the egress is moved, the light will be definitively approved, and do we have a timeline for when that light would then be installed? Just for the record.
So the light is not solely dependent on the developer. So there's a number of different issues at play here, chief among which, of course, is that 6 miles of Wayne County controlled right-of-way. So Wayne County ultimately is going to control the permitting process there. But by the council taking this action and us moving our driveway, that is what allows the county to even permit it in the first place. And Schoolcraft College has done a lot of the work on this, and there's a coalition of businesses that are going to assist in funding the traffic signal. So there's really a significant public-private movement to get this signal put into place, and we're happy to be a part of that if the council will allow it.
So do you have a timeline of if this gets approved, when this is going to start?
I mean, everybody here knows how Wayne County operates, or even the city of Livonia at times. I mean, things move at the speed of government. I don't have a definitive timeline for you on that.
Anything else, Ms. Budzinski?
Nope, that was all. Thank you.
Mr. McCullough?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Well, with that, I'm going to add, well, if I may, to the motion maker, if you would be to put conditions that this light be installed before C of O is given to this project.
That sounds reasonable.
I'll support.
Okay. Motion by Tashnik, or amended, supported. Anything else from council? Anything from the audience on this?
Yes.
You have 2 minutes. Name and address, please.
Victoria Wysocki, 16348 Aldrich Court in the Quakertown subdivision. I have a question for the developer. So my understanding right now is there is going to be one exit on Fox Drive, one entrance. It will be off of 6 Mile. They can turn right in and they can turn right out, and that's it. So without the Fox Drive, you're going to have some people that may choose not to use your car wash, I'm guessing, because they won't be able to turn left back out of. So I'm sort of viewing it as it's an advantage business-wise to you to get that access because people will be more likely to use your car wash. Would that be reasonable?
Well, the business proposed the Fox Drive access in the first place, so we'd be more than happy to have it if you can figure out a way to get it for us.
I'm just trying to clarify.
Okay, so you guys can't.
No,
sorry.
Okay, so my bad. So there
You
will
can
be
take it out there if you want.
So there will be one entrance in and out now, versus there was going to be 2 entrances. I'm trying to get clarification so that I understand what's going on. And if that's the case, the other thing that I would like to make sure is that these traffic lights are staggered. The gentleman here showed me a diagram that makes them look like they are not staggered. And if they are not staggered, it's not going to go very well for the Quakertown residents. So I don't know if we can add that in, that the traffic light be staggered. Thank you.
Madam President?
Ms.
may I-
McCullough?
may I, so, and please correct me if I'm wrong on this. So that doodle, which is a doodle, I mean, it's a one of one. Basically, what we've done now with this current motion on the table is we're requiring before that business can open day one to have an approved light in place. Now, you did hear Wayne County, they are the ones that will officially stamp the design. So there could be, they could force the developer or the petitioner to come in and say, hey, I want 3. That's going to be on their traffic engineers. We will not. We're politicians. We just like the experts to do it. So with that contingency on it, that protects not only, and I'm sure, just as Mr. Gresco did say, is maybe this was a dangle thing from the other developer to hold off to see if this was a sticking point. And obviously, now that it is, they're probably going to make every effort to ensure that if there is an opportunity to get out through Fox Drive, they're going to do so. And the business owner, I think, would absolutely want that, just as you said. My thing for kind of switching is, with everything coming up, a light solution is needed. So, thank you.
Ms. McDonald?
Thank you. Through the chair, do you think your developer would be in agreement to push and put through that driveway within a month or two in order to get this project moving in a timely manner to get that light in place? Do you think that would be something that they would consider if we made a,
Candidly,
that as a...
I wish I could.
I don't think that's a reasonable request.
We already have to stipulate.
But within, okay,
So the stipulation right now that we have is before that business even opens.
I understand that.
They would have
but
to have light.
just hear me out on this, as you say. If they did it within the month or so, that would push things through for Wayne County to put the metal to, we could force possibly to have Wayne County put through this a lot, in a more timely manner instead of waiting a year or two or however long it takes for them to do anything. That was just my thought, so.
Thank you. Any other comments from council? Ms. Budzinski?
Just to clarify for the audience, a lot of talking's happened about what the motion is that we're going to vote on specifically right now, and that is that it would allow the variance that's requested with the stipulation that they make a very hard effort to get a secondary usage for an exit. And additionally, that they wouldn't open, so they could build the building, but they couldn't open for business until the traffic light was installed and operating. Correct. Okay.
Correct.
And I think that is a good group effort for how to compromise on this. As noted, this is not approval for the business that exists, but really an attempt to problem solve to get a light, which, as has been noted, is important. So I think that is it sets the tone to make sure that we do, in fact, get a light there that works, and as quickly as hopefully Wayne County can do it. So, thank you.
Thank you. All right.
If I may, just one more. I know, and then I'm not going to say anything else, I promise, unless somebody asks me a question. Again, I foresee that Wayne County delays, so we're talking significant construction costs here. I think we're just inviting potential future dispute to the extent there's a delay that's completely beyond the developer's control here. I understand council has the authority to impose conditions within a certain framework. I know the council will do what it chooses here, and as the developer will weigh options at that point. I don't know what level of investment is possible given the uncertainty of now we just may simply do a $5 million build out and not be able to operate due to conditions that are completely beyond our control. I don't know that anybody on council would personally do that or advise the city to do that, quite frankly. But that being said, obviously we would always prefer an approving rather than not. But I just put that for council's consideration, and I thank you for your time tonight.
Thank you. Madam Clerk, please take the vote.
Councilmember Tashnik.
Aye.
Vice President Brockway.
No.
Councilmember McCullough.
Aye.
Councilmember McDonald.
No.
Councilmember Budzinski.
Aye.
Councilmember Persicone.
Aye.
President Reed.
Aye. That passes 5-2.
Thank you, council.
All right, moving on to item number 18, request for authorization to purchase rock salt for ice control. This is utilizing a cooperative bidding process for the 2026-2027 and 2027-2028 seasons with 4 additional one-year extensions at the approved 5% per year increase from budgeted funds. Council?
Approve.
Motion by Budzinski,
Support.
support by Persicone. Any comments from council? Mr. McCullough?
If I may, obviously, last week I was not, or the last meeting I wasn't here. And this, I did some research on it, and it is utilizing a cooperative purchasing agreement. It's just not the My Deals. It's the one that is, it's a different one, consortium between, I think, a lot of metro areas. Now, the My Deals, I called the My Deals main line to Detroit Salt, who also would be the same vendor, and they haven't locked anything in. So we are a My Deals company, and I think our rate, do you have what's the per ton cost? Isn't it $70?
99.
And the state of Michigan hasn't published through My Deals their current one. And with that, we had a harsh winter last year, and so as they get these things, the planning process, believe it or not, begins yesterday. And so I was happy to hear that it was down to 70, so.
Madam Chair?
Thank you.
Ms. Budzinski?
Sorry. I had wanted to just let the audience know that we did ask and receive additional information about the salt contract and the rates, as noted by Councilman McCullough, that it would be 70.99 per ton. However, we can purchase 2,000 to 2,300 tons at $67.99, and then order the rest. We can store a certain amount and then order the rest as needed at that $70 rate. So there are a lot of different components in this resolution that's being passed in terms of cost tiers. And I know we do have Kevin here who could explain it far better than I could if anyone needed. Zach, sorry. Long night. Zach is here to explain it better than me, clearly. Thank you.
Any comments from the audience? Name and address, please. You have 2 minutes.
Robert Biga, 29846 Westfield, Livonia, retiree from the city of Livonia, former employee of Wayne County. If I understood correctly, the price is no longer $130 a ton. It's around $70 a ton.
It's your time.
Okay.
Use your time.
Just
Yep.
wanted a clarification because with the $130 a ton going through the MI deals, you would save $231,000 up to $373,000. And that is the way we used to purchase when I worked in DPW in Livonia and also at Wayne County. So if you're going to go with the MI deals, as Mr. McCullough said, I don't have to say anything more. But it sounds like you're getting a decent price, but I don't know directly because if you go on MI deals, the range is $41 a ton to $75 a ton. And typically, the larger purchasers get the lower rate. That was just my thought. So, thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments from the audience? All right, Madam Clerk, please take the vote. Oh, are you coming up?
Is Kevin?
Name and address, please. You have 2 minutes.
Christopher Martin, great state of Michigan. Shouldn't the petitioner have explained all of this? Is that the petitioner standing over there? He's waving at me. Because we're back, actually you're doing this ass backwards because you're asking for people to come up here and voice something And there's the guy right there who should have spoken first and explained it. So that's the way
With
I'm
all due
viewing
respect, that's what the study meeting was. We did discuss this.
it. There he is right there.
Okay. Any other comments from the audience? Madam Clerk, please take the vote.
Councilmember Tashnik.
Aye.
Vice President Brockway.
Aye.
Councilmember McCullough.
Aye.
Councilmember McDonald.
Yes.
Councilmember Budzinski.
Aye.
Councilmember Persicconi.
Aye.
President Reed.
Aye. Item number 18 passes 7-0. Item number 19, proposed amendment to the Livonia Code of Ordinance as amended to Section 040 of Title 13, Chapter 8, Water Service Rates and Revenues to provide for changes in the water service consumption rates to become effective with the first billing on or after July 1st, 2026.
Offer a first read.
Ms. McCullough?
I wanted the first one.
Okay.
So, got it.
And then you just go. You have to do a first read on all of these.
I have to go all through all of them right now.
Well, one at a time, yes.
Right, okay.
I got the first one.
Yep.
Thank you.
There's one for each of us.
Item number 20, proposed amendment to the Livonia Code of Ordinance as amended to Section 50 of Title 13, Chapter 8, Water Service Rates and Revenues to provide changes in the water service consumption rates to become effective with the first billing on or after July 1st, 2026.
Madam Chair,
Ms. Tashnik?
I would love to offer a first read on this one.
Okay, first read from Tashnik on item number 20. Item number 21, proposed amendment to the Livonia Code of Ordinance as amended to Section 50 of Title 13, Chapter 28, Industrial Waste Surcharge to provide for changes in the industrial waste surcharge rate to become effective with the first billing on or after July 1st, 2026.
I'll offer the other first read.
Okay, item number 21, first read by Budzinski. Item number 22, proposed amendment to the Livonia Code of Ordinance as amended to Section 120 of Title 13, Chapter 20, Livonia Sewage Disposal System to provide for changes to the sewer disposal and maintenance rates to become effective with the first billing on or after July 1st, 2026.
Madam Chair,
Mr. Brockway?
I'd like to offer a first read.
Okay, item number 22, first read by Mr. Brockway. Item number 23, proposed amendment to the Livonia Code of Ordinance as amended, Section 130 of Title 13, Chapter 20, Livonia Sewage Disposal System to provide for changes to the special rates for designated uses to become effective with the first billing on or after July 1st, 2026.
Madam Chair,
Ms. McDonald?
I would like to offer the first reading, please.
Thank you. Item number 23, first read by Councilwoman McDonald. And then we just vote on one, right?
Vote on the next time.
Oh, never mind. Do I have to go to comments, audience on that one? Any comments from the audience on 19 through 23? Any comments from council? Okay. Item number 24, request to barricade City Street. This comes from Ken Douglas, Road Knights Auto Club on Sunday, June 14th, 2026 from 2:30 to 3 p.m. on West Chicago from Middlebelt Road to Oxbow Street.
Madam Chair, I'd like to offer an approving.
Support.
Okay, motion by
Okay.
McCullough, support by Budzinski. Is the petitioner here?
He is. And the reason I know that, if I may, Kenny and I went to school, and we actually worked at Old Navy together at Wonderland Mall. And that is not why he's doing what he does, but Kenny took over this years ago and has been doing an incredible job. I think he's allowed city council awards. We go out there, and this is my chance to give him a huge kudos for all the work he does, and his family that selflessly do this at Wilson Barn every single year.
Did you want to come down and say anything about the event?
Come plug it. Madam Chair, while Kenny's walking down.
I gave you the intro.
Ms. Tashnik?
So while Kenny's walking down to the podium, because I'm sure he wants to plug his event, I know that Mrs. Budzinski and I have been guest judges the last couple of years, and it's been a really fun event to go to. We've been able to give out the council awards. Unfortunately, I'm going to be in Alaska this year. I mean, not unfortunate for me, but I won't be able to come to your event.
You.
But, I look forward to coming.
I'll hold it up
next summer.
for you.
You can hold it up for me, yeah. You can get 2 picks this year. Yeah, so, but good to see you again.
Did you want to
Thank
just...
you. Thank you very much, Brandon, as well. Yeah, I mean, this year's going to be our 38th annual barn show, and this year we thought, well, in conjunction with being our 38th year, it was also our 75th year as a club. So we thought, what better way to kind of, celebrate than to kind of up the ante a little bit with our show and to do a motorcycle stunt show for approximately 30 minutes on West Chicago, something to kind of add a little bit to the show, to the spectators, as well as with that area being outside of the gates, it would be free to any Livonia citizens that want to come and watch and possibly come in and check out some cool hot rods. So, yeah, that's pretty much it.
Okay, exciting. Any comments from the audience on this one? Madam Clerk, please take the vote.
Councilmember Tashnik.
Aye.
Vice President Brockway.
Aye.
Councilmember McCullough.
Aye.
Councilmember McDonald.
Yes.
Councilmember Budzinski.
Aye.
Councilmember Persicconi.
Aye.
President Reed.
Aye. Item number 24 passes 7-0. Hope you have a great event. Item number 25, acceptance of grant of easement secured with monetary consideration from Laurel Investment LLC for a water main easement in connection with the water main constructed with a development at this location in the southeast quarter of Section 7.
Madam Chair,
Ms. Tashnik?
I'll offer an approving. This is pretty standard procedure in these
Support.
situations.
Okay, motion by Tashnik, support by McCullough. Any comments from council? Any comments from the audience? Madam Clerk, please take the vote.
Councilmember Tashnik.
Aye.
Vice President Brockway.
Aye.
Councilmember McCullough.
Aye.
Councilmember McDonald.
Yes.
Councilmember Budzinski.
Aye.
Councilmember Persicconi.
Aye.
President Reed.
Aye. Item number 25 passes 7-0. Item number 26, acceptance of grant of easement secured without monetary consideration from Laurel Investment LLC for a sanitary sewer easement in connection with the sanitary sewer constructed with the development at this location in the southeast quarter of Section 7.
Motion to approve.
Support.
Motion by Budzinski, support by Persicconi. Any comments from council? Any comments from the audience? Madam Clerk, please take the vote.
Councilmember Tashnik.
Aye.
Vice President Brockway.
Aye.
Councilmember McCullough.
Aye.
Councilmember McDonald.
Yes.
Councilmember Budzinski.
Aye.
Councilmember Persicconi.
Aye.
President Reed.
Aye. Item number 26 passes 7-0. Item number 27, acceptance of grant of easement secured without monetary consideration from Livonia Public Schools for a water main easement in connection with the water main constructed with the Livonia Public Schools Career Technical Center at this location in the southeast quarter of Section 31.
Motion to approve.
Support.
Motion by Tashnik, support by McCullough. Comments from council? Comments from the audience? Madam Clerk, please take the vote.
Councilmember Tashnik.
Aye.
Vice President Brockway.
Aye.
Councilmember McCullough.
Aye.
Councilmember McDonald.
Yes.
Councilmember Budzinski.
Aye.
Councilmember Persicconi.
Aye.
President Reed.
Aye. Item number 28 passes, or 27 passes 7, wait, what was I on?
27.
27 passes 7-0. Item number 28, acceptance of grant of easement secured without monetary consideration from Livonia Public Schools for a water main easement in connection with the water main constructed with the Livonia Public Schools Career Technical Center at this location in the southeast quarter of Section 31.
Motion to
So
approve.
moved.
I'll support.
Okay, motion by McDonald, support by Budzinski. Comments from council? Comments from the audience? Madam Clerk, please take the vote.
Councilmember Tashnik.
Aye.
Vice President Brockway.
Aye.
Councilmember McCullough.
Aye.
Councilmember McDonald.
Yes.
Councilmember Budzinski.
Aye.
Councilmember Persicconi.
Aye.
President Reed.
Aye. Item number 28 passes 7-0. Item number 29, request to authorize retaining counsel to submit a claim to recover from PFAS class action settlement. Mr. Goldstein, you want to comment on this one?
Sure. There is a large PFAS class action multi-district litigation case. Those two things are nuancedly different and overlapping, and I don't think it matters. Sorry. A large nationwide class action involving PFAS has settled. It is huge and it is very complicated, and we have consulted with multiple firms about representing us for purposes of preparing a claim to see what, if any, we can get for the city of Livonia in connection with this PFAS settlement and nationwide issue. If you have any questions, I mean, the resolution speaks for itself. This is a matter of, as we understand it, great complexity. We considered doing it ourselves when Carter was still here, Carter Fisher, and even then we decided that the potential complexity might be more than we could handle with what we saw coming. And now with his departure, I think it was the right decision. Let's get people who know how to put the claim together with all of its complications, and that maximizes our potential recovery. That's what we're doing here.
Thank you,
Madam
Council.
President?
Mr. McCullough?
I'd be happy to offer an approving.
Support.
Madam President?
Motion by McCullough, support by Persicone.
This is where I give a shout out to Laura Toy, former council member, because she would always explain what PFAS was. There is acronyms that it stands for, but it's the forever chemicals. So nonstick cookware, waterproof fabrics and clothing, carpets and upholstery, food, packaging, firefighting, foam in back of the day. And as it gets in our, groundwater, it doesn't break down. So take that with you if you didn't know. There you go.
Okay, any other comments from council? Any comments from the audience? Madam Clerk, please take the vote.
Councilmember Tashnik.
Aye.
Vice President Brockway.
Aye.
Councilmember McCullough.
Aye.
Councilmember McDonald.
Yes.
Councilmember Budzinski.
Aye.
Councilmember Persicone.
Aye.
President Reed.
Aye. Item number 29 passes 7-0. And I accidentally skipped over someone earlier. Erica Smith from Government Relations has an update for us, and I skipped right over her. And it's a good update. So I'm going to ask her to come down and give it real quick. She's going to be really fast.
Thank you, Council President. I'll try to be as quick as possible. I have a couple updates regarding the library and the Noble RFP. So the ADA atrium bathroom. This project recently went out to bid on May 18th, and the bid closes on June 9th. Last week, on May 27th, the mandatory pre-bid meeting and site visit took place. This initial phase will create the one family-style ADA bathroom in the lobby that is currently where the coat room is. We have this on we will plan to have this on a study agenda before council in July, and the work will be paid for by funds from the Housing Commission. And we're hoping that if everything goes according to plan, it'll all be complete by the end of this year. As a reminder, we didn't proceed with the remaining restrooms in the lobby and in the interior of the library because we applied for a grant through Congresswoman Rashida Tlaib's office. So if we receive that grant money, we're hopeful that we'll have the work completed in the spring of summer next year. And if we don't, we'll look at moving money from other possible projects to get that done sooner. So the library roof in the atrium has been on hold until a decision was made on the final design, and we recently just received approval for proceeding forward with replacing the glass and the seals instead of converting it to a solid metal roof, and that'll keep the original roof that so many residents love. Based on the timing of being able to get the drawings out for bid, the work will most likely be done in the spring and summer. And depending on the funding, we may be combining the interior bathroom project with the roofing project so they can get done at the same time and minimize the disturbance to our library patrons. They would be different contractors, but we can coordinate their access and work schedules. Now on to the Alfred Noble site RFP. That went live last Friday, May 28th, and it closes July 17th. I would love to thank all of the task force members and all of the members of the administration for all of the hard work that they put in along the way. We're really excited to see what possibilities are in store for the Noble site. And if you want links for the RFP are on the Mayor's Task Force website. If you go to livonia.gov/2022, it'll take you to the Mayor's Task Force website. So, and all of that is linked there. Thank you.
Thank you. Any closing audience comments? If you did not speak before and not on the agenda. Good evening, sir. Name and address, please. You have 3 minutes.
Good evening, Madam President. Jim Biggle, Livonia, Michigan. Previously I heard, and maybe I heard incorrectly, that when the council votes that night, the vote is taken and the following meeting is when you vote on the minutes, and you can't re-vote once the minutes are, you can't re-vote when you approve the minutes. Last year, I thought I was at a meeting, and maybe I was in dreamland, but I thought that a time happened when former council member Scheel rescinded her vote, and we re-voted an issue. So I need clarification. Can you re-vote on an issue, or can't you? Because I thought I just heard tonight you can't re-vote an issue once you had a vote the meeting before. So when you go to vote on your agenda, you can't throw that vote out from the meeting before and start over. So hopefully you could give me an answer, if not this meeting, maybe at the study meeting at the beginning. Thank you.
Good evening, ma'am. Name and address for the record, please. You have 3 minutes.
Hi, Cindy Fleming, Livonia. I just wanted to talk again about water main breaks, water safety, drinking water, and how residents are alerted when their drinking water and their water to their households are being affected. Over the weekend on Saturday morning, a friend and neighbor texted me that her neighbor, and I'm going to read her text, from neighbor behind me on West Chicago, check your water. FYI, our water is brown this morning. I called the no emergency police line. They are doing water main work, and it's impacting Plymouth to Joy and Farmington to Merriman, that entire mile zone. He said he would advise not washing clothes as it can stain, no drinking, even with boiled water, and not showering for your own safety. He said said for sure it's happening today. He was frustrated that the Department of Works had not sent anything out as already. He has had 50 phone calls this morning. So happy Saturday. Wanted to share those with the ones around us, those around us. I did communicate with several people about this from the city, and they told me that a red alert went out. I get red alerts. Something happened and it malfunctioned. My husband also gets red alerts. The person that sent me this text gets red alerts. We did not get notified. So there's breakdowns in multiple systems, and when the non-emergency person, which is the weekend because our emergency manager isn't here, is recommending that people don't drink the water even if boiled, that's concerning. 50 people called that police station that morning. That was in the morning. I'm sure there were many more. That square mile is the most populous area of Livonia. We've had continual issues with water main breaks and rusty water. The last time I spoke, and I know there's something on the main page, that's how this neighbor knew from my earlier communication to call the non-emergency number. So I don't know how we can do it and what we can do. Thanks. I'm through the chair to Erica Smith. Thank you. Hopefully we can get it addressed. Thank you.
That is time. Madam. Ms. Budzinski.
Or if we're done with, if I'm permitted, just to speak on that issue, I did talk to Erica this morning about water main breaks and the code red alert. And the administration is working to look at the system and kind of improve its effectiveness in the notification process, as it was not consistent, at least over the weekend, and also looking at ways to provide door hangers when working in certain areas around water main breaks to help with education. Oh, maybe Zach.
Go for it, Kevin.
Yeah, Kevin here. So I'd be happy to provide some clarity. So, yeah, Public Works went out Saturday morning, and in an industrial corridor, we tried making some repairs on some valves. What we didn't anticipate is this was an 18-inch main. We have extremely old cast iron pipe in the system, and it stirred some things up. The water was safe to consume. It was safe to use. If it's not, we will issue a boil water alert. We have to do door hangers. We have to do everything, any type of media possible, we have to extend that out to the public. So I apologize if a non-emergency employee was stating that the water was not safe to consume. That message that went out on social media was from myself, right? So I have an S1 water license. I am our operator for the system here, right? So those messaging come from myself. So again, in that area, we were making a repair. We realized the impact zone, and we tried getting a message out on social media. We are working on instituting some door hangers. When we are in an area where there's a water main break, we can hand out those door hangers. We'll have QR codes that you can sign up that will make sure you are signed up to the Code Red system. We'll also link you to our landing page. We are currently trying to develop a water main break tracker, so you can see when we were informed of it and when it was actually resolved. You can see that duration, you can see the impact area, and again, you'll be able to sign up for those alerts. So we're in the development of making all of that for our water main breaks. Again, this weekend was a planned maintenance for a valve repair in an industrial corridor that just stirred up it's iron manganese in the system, right? That is a safe, just biological compound out there, right? It just builds up in the main. So it was completely safe for consumption. So I do want to clarify that. Our social media post did clarify that. And again, that post came directly from myself. So if there's any confusion on that, I just wanted to clear that up.
Thanks, Kev. Mr. Brockway?
Got it.
Motion to adjourn.
Support.
Motion by Brockway, support by Tashnik. We will be back at 9:25 for the study.